Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. We are here on Friday. We've made it to the weekend, everyone. You don't have to worry about the news because we got you covered on today's Friday news dump. No doom scrolling, no paying attention. Go have yourself a nice cold. Just go somewhere cold, honestly. Just go somewhere cold because the world is on fire. This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee. Oh, you wanted to say something?
We are totally hosed Friday. It's I decided to call this one.
Yes,
this one is a particular one. Yes. All right.
This is the first and only international game show, Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before the show starts. We just got caffeine in our body and we learn to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into those hosed out headlines and spin that segue wheel. Today on the Friday's news dump. Man gets fined for waking a polar bear in Spitsburg. Plus, a magnitude 7.4 earthquake hit Colombia and Ecuador on Monday.
Looking for survivors.
They're at the aftermath. Yep, they're still at the aftermath.
And on Totally Hosed Friday, we're going to talk about the story I've been talking about all week, which is Stinky the Clown abandoning his cabinet on a Decoy Air Force One, including, of course, Stephen Miller, Scott Bessett, and Marco Rubio. Plus, General Dynamic. Well, no, let's do this other story. U.S. sailors on the USS Abraham Lincoln are actually jumping off the ship. Get away.
In our hot planet news, Etna explodes and lava flows at 2,750 meters. The volcano lights up the night. Plus, forest fire in Eiffel in Germany. The whole district has been evacuated.
Oh, yes. Another reason we're totally hosed in the United States is the defense contractors take a $533 million of money and made absolutely nothing.
Yay!
We'll have that report.
In my culture news, Spotify to distinguish AI artists from real people. Wow, the bar's low. But they're also going to stop recommending those AI artists into your feed. YouTube could take some notes here.
And it's National Navajo Code Talkers Day, the people that won the war, because the Nazis had no idea what the Navajo language was, because it was never written down. It is Friday, August 14th, 2026 on Before Coffee.
Yeah, we love some native languages that have not been completely eradicated. Thank you. Thank you, the Navajo.
Probably
Even though they're enemies of my people. No, the Navajo are enemies of my people.
Really? Back in the day. Let's not hold a grudge. Let's not.
I was being sarcastic.
Got it. It's like, the herd of buffalo, they must leave. I don't know. Anyway.
No. If I did my research properly, which I'm not an expert, I'm related to the Pueblo people, which were just basket weavers. They just made baskets. That's what they're known for. They were just a farming civilization, so they did not hunt buffalo. And
Navajos all over.
Navajo is a pretty big nation. They were constantly encroaching the Pueblo area, basically. So.
Yeah. There's a lot. Comanche and Apache. Comanche and Apache's very.
Yeah. No, Comanche are famously not very nice.
Yeah, Comanche were relocated. The best Indian reservation in the world is the Apache reservation at Ruidoso, New Mexico. They have a ski resort and a gambling casino up there.
Nice.
And all the rich people up there.
I'm glad they get all that money from the rich people.
You've been to Ruidoso.
Our first segue is a haiku.
Haiku time. Honey, you don't have my.
And we're gonna talk about the earthquake that happened on Monday. That is, they're still looking for victims, but this story is specifically from Monday, I think. So it's at least a couple days old.
We need a recent story, man.
Adrian Alcema, a 7.4 earthquake hit Western Colombia on Monday. What was that? I guess that would have been the 9th. Was it the 9th?
The 10th.
The 10th of August, killing at least 110 people and injuring hundreds. The earthquake struck around 7:30 in the morning and had its epicenter in San Jose del Palmar, a municipality in the Choco province. In the hour that followed, locals began reporting collapsed buildings in the city of Cali, Pereira, and Manizales, where a tower of cathedral and a dozen other buildings fully or partially collapsed, according to Mayor Jorge Eduardo Rojas. In a first report on fatalities, Risaralda Governor Juan Diego Patiño said that at least 40 people were killed in the capital of Pereira. Another 3 would have been killed in Manizales. In Cali, an unknown number of people would be trapped under the rubble of multiple buildings. At least 27 people would be killed in the Valle de Guarza province. Large parts of the roof of the Pereira airport came down, according to videos shared on social media. Flights to Pereira, Manizales, Quibdó. There's a place called Armenia, Colombia. I love that. Armenia, Colombia, Cartago, and Buenaventura were suspended until airport authorities check for damages in the infrastructure. In Quibdó, the capital of Choco, at least 4 people were killed and another 69 were injured. Governor Nubia Carolina Cordoba said in her second report. The earthquake was also felt strongly in the capital of Bogota and in Medellin, where no injuries have been reported, just the aftershock. In an initial response, President Abelardo de la Espriella said on social media platform Twitter that he had personally taken charge of the emergency response in San Jose del Palmar. I will also be in Pereira in person to stand with those affected and monitor the government's response, said De La Espriella, who took office on last Friday, which would have been the 7th of August, and is yet to appoint his director of disaster response, or agency UNGRD. The president later reported that he was only on his way to the Bogota to lead rescue efforts for the UNGRD's main office. I have established a unified command post at the UNGRD. From there, I will personally lead the efforts to assist the communities in Choco, the Coffee region, and all affected areas. According to the Colombian Geological Service, the earthquake was the strongest in Colombia of the past decade. And yes, as my dad has said, they are still looking for victims, for survivors now. 4 days later, I guess. Yeah, 4 days later. There's still a lot of missing people, huge buildings fallen over. Landslides have occurred because rocks have been, dislodged loose. So 7.4 is a pretty dangerous earthquake. And we haven't seen anybody talking about this earthquake at all in the news. So we gotta talk about it. I hope you have a haiku.
No, keep talking.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what else to say. Let's see if I can find any more. By the time I find more information, you'll better. It says here that the survival rescue window is actually closing after this. Colombian president declared a 3-month economic emergency yesterday on the 13th, enabling decree powers for disaster relief. The quake destroyed 12,563 homes and damaged critical infrastructure, including 5 airports and 217 health centers. So the places they need to take these survivors are also knocked down.
I got a haiku.
Well, let me finish because I have already started. So, Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum said Thursday that Colombia refused entry to Mexican rescuers, citing certification issues. Though the government denies the accusation, Colombia is preparing to receive international teams from the U.S., Ecuador, Israel, and El Salvador. But not Mexico. God forbid Mexico helps them. Very weird. But there you go. There's my story.
All right. There's my coup. Built on shaky ground and archaic construction. Watch buildings crumble. There you go.
Their buildings are crumbling.
Not funny. People are dying, but there you go.
Well, I think they've already... It sounds like it's already done.
No, people are currently dying and starving to death, and 4 days of rubble being searched. It's not over. It's not over by a long shot. I don't think so. I don't think it's over. By the way, there are aftershocks.
Well, I just said that. I just reported that Colombian says the window is closing today. That's all. Okay, our next story is about a polar bear.
I don't find any humor in it. Polar bears. Let's find humor in that, though. Okay.
Our next story is coming from NOS. Anyone who wakes up a polar bear in Spitsbergen can be... If anyone wakes up a polar bear in Spitsbergen, it can be quite expensive. In the Norwegian archipelago, a man was fined 50,000 kroner, which is converted to about 4,500 euros, so give or take a couple euros for the USD, after waking a polar bear with a foghorn of a ship. In a fjord in the northeast of Spitsbergen, a passenger on a boat saw a sleeping polar bear lying ashore. With the idea of waking the animal, he used a foghorn. The bear woke up in fright and disappeared to another place, writes the local governor. The polar bear has been a protected species on Spitsbergen since 1972, as the population is declining sharply. Spitsbergen environmental legislation stipulates that traffic on the archipelago must take place without causing disturbances to local fauna, such as polar bears, seals, whales, reindeer, and Arctic foxes. The man agreed to pay the fine. It is not the first time that people have been fined for disturbing animals in Spitsbergen. In 2024, a tourist was already fined 11,500 kroner, which is about 735 euros, for approaching a walrus too closely. Spitsbergen is located in the Arctic Ocean, 1,300 kilometers from the North Pole, but belongs to the economic zone of Norway. For many scientists, it's an interesting area of research because the temperatures on the archipelago are rising 8 times as fast as the global average, precursor to our hot planet, and 4 times as fast in the Netherlands, according to the KNMI. Economic Zone of Norway. Let's read more about it. Oh, yes. Back in January, 2 years ago, back in January, Spitsbergen was in the middle of a anti-deep sea mining drama, which we probably even talked about. I remember the deep sea mining drama. So we've probably talked about this place before, where they were like, yeah, let's destroy the ocean floor to get those minerals down there. And everyone was like, you're gonna kill all the animals. Like, the polar bears already have to go more south to find food, you know? And walruses and seals and all sorts of things, where they're going more and more south to get food, and then you're gonna kill all the sea life on the bottom so they can't even get that food. Yeah, so I don't know if they ever actually went along with it, with this deep sea mining. The UN did have an announcement on it. Oh, that was ages ago. So I think we can agree. I think any environmentalist can agree that deep sea trawling and mining is dangerous for the planet. But you know, what about our money? Save the polar bears and stop waking them up with your foghorns. That's my story. It's very short.
Sorry, I have a haiku for this, and I was looking for something else for some reason. All right. A snoring white blob, question mark. Probably leave them alone. Let sleeping bears lie.
Exactly.
Metaphor. Oh, there's a harmless thing. Let me make it harmful.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, it's not going to fight a giant cargo ship, or I don't think it is.
I think polar bears get taller than grizzly bears. I think they're even taller. They don't get as big and burly, but I think they get a lot taller, right? So they're pretty scary.
Yeah, but I don't.
Legs.
I think a polar bear sees a giant ship and goes, "What the fuck is that thing?" and goes the other direction. So, I mean, foghorns are pretty loud.
Yeah, unless they're hungry. So. A hungry polar bear is not something you want to be around. Just saying.
And they're all hungry because we keep destroying their environment.
And they're all hungry. Yeah, because we're setting them adrift
we're
on.
Starving them. Yeah.
Ice flows all over the Arctic because the glaciers and the polar ice caps are melting.
Next segue is an associate for your story.
Okay, I got two stories here. Let me close this video. Let's do the absolutely idiotically stupid ones first. They're both idiotically stupid. Let's do the one from the Navy first. This is from AlJazeera.com. Joseph Stepansky. Reports of U.S. sailors in the Middle East trying to jump ship, literally, spark outcry. Lawmakers in the United States have raised alarm over reports over dire conditions on an aircraft carrier deployed in the Middle East amid the U.S.-Israel war with Iran. Idiotic war, including accounts of sailors trying to jump overboard. The response has included a direct appeal to the Pentagon to Pentagon Chief Whiskey Pete Kegsbreath, the flabby alcoholic who runs the Department of Defense, asking for further information about conditions on board the USS Abraham Lincoln, and demanded that a bipartisan congressional delegation be allowed to visit the ship. In a letter to Kegsbreath, the flabby alcoholic who runs the Department of Defense, Department Senator Richard Blumenthal noted that the aircraft carrier with more than 5,000 U.S. sailors and U.S. Marines has been continuously at sea for a record length of nearly 7 months. Imagine being a Marine in that god-awful place, man. Marines get treated like shit on a ship, by the way. They're just totally treated like shit. That's my experience. They're
the ground. They're the infantry, right? They're not supposed to be on
cargo. We are
exactly.
cargo. That's what you're. Shut up. You're cargo. That surpasses any previous deployment of U.S. aircraft carrier without a port stop. 7 months of deployment without a port stop. I just want to repeat that. They've been at sea continuously. I suppose they get resupplied if, Iran allows to let those resupply flights through, right? I don't know. But again, you're at a freaking ship with no really amenities. Let's call it. Blumenthal noted that the vessel's mission was meant to end at May. But congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thanks for joining us. But it has been repeatedly extended amid the war in Iran. The conflict remains a state of grinding limbo with a moratorium on understanding to end the fighting, largely defunct and further diplomatic efforts to stall. Didn't this war end like 8 times already, right? I won the war, Trump announced. You don't win shit. You've lost the war. You're going to have to pay reparations, you stupid piece of shit. He pointed to reports of deteriorating mental health on board, as well as shortages of basic supplies, water contamination, and increase in safety incidents, and even destructions of mail services. Go which are on board to receive care packages. So these reports warrant immediate attention, but they also raise a broader question whether the Navy can sustain the operational tempo now being demanded of its carrier force, particularly as this administration repeatedly commits U.S. forces to conflicts of its own choosing, increasingly relies on aircraft carriers to sustain those operations, Blumenthal wrote. Again, Trump doesn't consider you people. If you're in the military, he considers you suckers and losers. You must know this by now.
He said that himself in 2015 or 2016 or whatever.
He that to his
Yeah.
chief of staff, a U.S. Marine General Kelly. He said this to it. I don't think Kelly's lying about this. I don't think he's lying. Why would he lie? Anyway. So anyway, Senator Ruben Gallego, also a Democrat from, I believe, California, went further, saying the Navy must also allow a bipartisan congressional delegation to visit USS Lincoln and conduct an oversight investigation of this horrible situation. Why are we treating our troops like this? I support the troops. In other words, you don't support the troops. And the Republican Party, again...
You abandoned them on a ship.
Proving for a fact the Republican Party does not support the troops. Just get this through your head, troops. You are out there abandoned. You are abandoned. If anybody on this ship has the internet, and you can see me, you have been abandoned by the Republican Party. One party is abandoned. I have my problem with Democrats myself. I don't give a shit. The Republicans are evil. They are evil. Democrats might fight amongst themselves. We might disagree on policy a lot, but we're not evil. Anyway, there's your Crick story on that one. Let's do another one.
Well, of course, I associate this with the fact that I wouldn't even call them Republicans anymore. And I've said this many times on the show already. They're maggots or whatever you want to call them. They are not Republicans. Yeah, there's nothing about them.
Megaturds.
Nothing about them cares about a republic, right?
They're Christians with a hard K.
I wouldn't even say they're conservatives because they definitely want change. They want change to fascism. Fascist, maybe, even.
When you write the word Christian for United States from now on, spell it with 3 hard K's at the start. KKKR Christian. Because that's who they are. They're racist.
It reminded me of something. Blackbird Co-op, which is that Marylander guy who has his own chicken co-op or farm. Yeah. Anyways, he had he's very political on his channel. He doesn't just talk about farming. And he was talking about how he doesn't put his workers in uniforms because people in uniforms are treated as inhumanly, right? And that's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what happens to people in the military. They're not seen as human beings. They're seen as, oh, that's a uniform. Whatever that means.
Yes, you totally give your identity when you in any military service. They tell you at the start right away. They tell you are not longer that person you came in as.
No, but the problem is the government is now treating them as not a person at all. Right? This is the problem they're doing now. They're treating them like bags of sawdust or something. Throw it overboard. We don't need that anymore. Somebody left us here.
Marines are used to having the short end of the stick as the shitty end of the stick, no matter if it's the short end, always the shitty end of the stick. So I think Marines are like, oh, yeah, whatever. But the Navy's got to be losing their mind. I don't know. Although they're used to them close quarters. But Marines, I don't know. I think everybody on that ship is absolutely miserable and at each other's throats and are this close to a mutiny. And this is a damn shame what this asshole is doing to our military. And we're going to go back to more malfeasance and stupidity, and we'll conclude my segment. We're going to talk about Stinky the Clown abandoning his own cabinet, except the ones he liked, apparently. This is from BBC.com. Members of Trump's cabinet remained on Decoy plane after Stinky escaped in a catering truck. What a fucking coward. Once again, confirming this guy don't give a fuck about anybody except himself. I guarantee if his family is on there, he would have left him on there. 2 members of Stinky the Clown's cabinet flew on a Decoy plane. This is from BBC's Brandon Drennan. 2 members of Stinky's cabinet replaned on a Decoy plane last month that Trump secretly exited in order to board a different flight, according to BBC's U.S. partner, CBS News. BBC's U.S. partner? CBS News? Why is that your partner, BBC? I don't understand that. CBS News is full of shit.
The BBC and CBS are very similar, so that's why.
The BBC is owned by the government. BBC is run by the government. I'm just saying. Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Treasury Secretary, let's do this right. Secretary of State Little Marco Rubio and Treasury Secretary Scott. Everybody's doing great. Bessett remained on board what was believed to be Air Force One. The term normally used to refer to plane carrying U.S. president. They were traveling home from a NATO summit in Turkey. This was last, either June, I think. Actually, this might have happened in June. They were traveling in NATO summit in Turkey. The separate flight was provided to Trump due to our perceived security threat posed by Iran. We don't care about the people on the plane, only Trump. Only one we care about. How about maybe ground the flight completely, huh? How about that? Trump initially entered the same plane as his officials and members of the press before secretly transferring to a military plane before takeoff. Elaborate ruse involved him hiding on a catering truck to move between the two aircraft on 8 July. Just to call out to the people who want to kill Trump, he's going to escape on a catering truck, okay? So you might want to just, I don't know, whatever, man. Why are we putting people at risk for this piece of shit who everybody hates, including his own party? I mean, don't get me wrong. Republicans definitely hate Trump.
It's not everyone who everyone hates. It's also who hates everyone.
Right.
He only likes himself.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's all these Republicans are doing. Well, you know, he's pissing off liberals, so he's our friend, which is the fucking most short-sighted, idiotic way to conduct yourself. Anyway, they're all cowards. They hate Trump too, but they're all cowards, except the ones that don't. And again, the ones who find bravery all of a sudden are the ones who, I lost my primary. I all of a sudden have bravery because I don't have office to protect anymore. The label Air Force One applies to any plane carrying a president, but in this case, the original craft kept the call signals despite Trump's exit, thereby becoming a decoy. Here's an idea. If you're going to be a decoy, throw your military pilots up there and send them off and have an empty plane, because the bombs or the anti-aircraft or whatever don't know the difference between an empty plane and a full plane. So, according to CBS, Rubio and Bessett were among the limited group. Don't forget, Stephen Miller, one of the worst human beings on earth, was also on there. So Trump doesn't like him either. Of course, nobody likes him. Even his own wife doesn't like him. According to CBS, no, I'm just serious. If you don't know, Stephen Miller's wife, her previous beau, we should call it that, her previous beau was disgraced Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell, that guy. So yeah. Eric Swalwell was dating, and apparently Elon Musk also. So, yeah. So, Stephen Miller's own wife probably doesn't like him that much. According to CBS, Rubio and Bessett were among the limited group. They're aware that Trump had changed the aircraft, but Rubio and Bessett knew they were being on a decoy. Oh my God, they're idiots. But remained aboard the first flight in order to maintain a line of succession in case something happened to the president. Oh, okay. I'm Marco Rubio. I think Trump's in danger. I get to be president. I'm going to stay in the decoy. Once again, proving Marco Rubio is a clown. The two stupidest people in Trump's cabinet decided to stay on the plane. Marco Rubio, just remember this. These are the two stupidest people in Trump's cabinet. For sure. In the event that the president dies or is incapacitated, Vice President J.D. Vance would take power, followed by the Speaker of the House, Representatives, President, Pro Tem, Senator. J.D. Vance wasn't on the flight, so what the fuck was the problem? Others who stayed on the initial aircraft that remained designated as Air Force One included White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller and Stephen Chung, two of the biggest pieces of shit in the history of the world. So nobody would have missed them. Not even his wife. Like I said, Stephen Miller's wife probably wouldn't. She would have been like, insurance money, yay! Anyway, meanwhile, the smaller aircraft that flew Trump out of the Turkish capital of Ankara was reportedly also. Oh, look who got to escape the decoy plane. Let's list them all. Whiskey Pete Keg's Breath. That's right. Mr. Flabby, the defense secretary, he got the ride. Why? Who knows? Maybe Pete Keg's Breath doesn't have blackmail material. I don't know. Trump was also accompanied by his executive assistant, Nellie Hart. Prostitute. Excuse me. Sorry. Prostitute. Anyway. Excuse me. Prostitute. I got to keep sneezing. Anyway.
Bless you.
Deputy White. You're welcome. His executive assistant, Natalie Hart, excuse me.
Another one.
Yeah, I got Tourette syndrome all of a sudden. Deputy White House Chief of Staff Dan Scavino, piece of shit. Anyway, and Walt Nauta, Director of Office of Operations. The ABC has contacted the White House for comment, and of course the White House is like, Speaking to reporters on Monday night, Stinky confirmed that the decision to undertake the deception was made by the U.S. military and the Secret Service, who wanted me to go on a different flight. Here's an idea. If you think your flight's being blown out of the air, cancel the flight. Yeah, that might be something you want to do. Hey, you know what? Let's file a different flight plan to fly a different way. Anything. No, let's create a fucking security breach. This is what you did, by the way. You created a security breach because you don't know if anybody at that airport can be trusted. The nature of security threat remains unclear, and Trump provided no specifics, saying he only gets a lot of threats, which he rightfully deserves. He deserves a lot of threats because he makes a lot of threats. So since he's a lying pile of shit, he deserves every bit of abuse he ever gets. Any consequential president, consequential. That's another word for criminal. The threat was related to a soldier-mounted missile launcher. Oh yeah, because soldier-mounted missile launchers take out 747s all the time. U.S. outlets reported it as well.
I mean, you could get lucky and hit an engine, and then you only have half an engine, I guess.
Right. You'd also have to get them on takeoff or landing, right? You're not going to launch a freaking shoulder-launched missile launcher at 35,000 feet. It's not going to make it. It's just going to go hit something else. According to the New York Times, citing unnamed officials, someone had been spotted carrying a portable surface-to-air missile in the vicinity of the NATO conference in the Turkish capital. Someone had been spotted, huh? Okay. Way to go, Turkey. You know Trump's on your side, right, Turkey? You know, he's one of your fascists. He's with you guys. He's with your buddy there. What's his name? Orban?
Turkey?
Yeah, isn't it Orban? Aragon. Yeah, I get my fascists mixed up. The U.S. media reports vary as how serious.
It's old news. I'm pretty sure. I mean, he'll die hopefully he dies before he gets elected again.
Yeah, Orban's in Hungary, right? One official told the Washington Post that the CIA saw the warnings that Israel provided, not U.S. generators, and viewed them as low confidence. Yeah, the CIA just said, U.S. Israeli derived, and they said, we don't even believe it. It was not a real threat. And again, Israel just sees enemies everywhere. That's their shtick. So anyway, let's have us a I don't know, maybe we'll do some old Secret Service, because I always want to think the Secret Service is just a bunch of buffoons, because I know. I was like, you guys are kind of stupid. Secret Service personnel often use ruses of varying levels to complex, refer them as shell games in order to keep the U.S. president safe. Of course, they always playing games. That's kind of what they do. And definitely not the most intellectually, what do you want to call it? Intellectually flexible or integrity possessing form of government. They're basically bribable, blackmailable, all of the above. Identical versions of the president's heavily armored limousine, for example, often switch positions in motorcades, as do helicopters transporting presidents in the air. More elaborate operations often take place during high-risk trips. Again, what are we doing? We're giving away all this shit they might do. Of course, obviously, they do deception. But the deception itself should not put people at risk, and that's what you just did. You absolute clowns. Let's have us I forget what you spun.
You're ranting for a pretty long time there. It's just an associate. I associate this with every corrupt government ever in the history, but for some reason, we're just ignoring this one. You know? Yeah.
Well, the corruption is so intense that you lose track. It's a gish gallop.
You fill your entire cabinet with just spineless people who want the minimal amount of power that they can ever achieve. They're always fighting over, I want to sit in the special chair. I want to sit in the... Instead of actually doing their job, which is run a government, they're just fighting over being in the special chair, making sure to kiss as much ass as possible so that they can be in the special chair. So
No, I think they're just making so much money. Don't forget, they're making money. These guys in the cabinet are making money while they're in the government. They're stealing taxpayers' money for their own wealth, and that's all that's really happening right now. Scott Bessett, probably one of the worst. Of course, he's a billionaire. Let's not forget that. One of the worst people in government. Just a liar, completely full of shit. Lies about the economy. Complete liar. All right, there's your story. Let's have another spin, I
all
guess.
right. Next segue.
Ooh. Now, that's what I was going to do. I remember now. So look at my vid.
Could have waited till it rolled. We got a limerick. It's poetry for you
Oh,
today.
whoa! Limerick. How many stories?
2.
Two? Just 2? Okay.
Yep.
That means 2
Could have been
limerick,
more.
man.
These stories are about a fire in Germany and a volcano eruption in...
Boo.
I forget where the volcano eruption is. Where was the volcano? Volcano? What's a volcano? Volcano eruption in Catania. So I think that's Italy. Palermo, Cosimo, Trapani. Yeah. This is from Fulvio Cerutiti on Las Tampa, Italy. Yes, Italy. At least there is no longer the tide of people in recent days. They understood that it is useless to come here without inquiring first, says one of the many operators put in place by the SAT, the airport management company, to respond to passengers. Same thought of the bartender of one of the locals in the face of arrivals. In the recent days has been delirium. At least now we have slowed down. Today I'm just because so much flights are all suspended, and the company didn't bring in my colleagues. To those who told me that their flight had to be in 6 or 7 hours, I replied, go out. Here, not far away, there's a restaurant where you can eat well with a few euros. At least don't think about it. Yet in the airport there are people, many with their eyes lost in the void, of those who know they are in the middle ground. The flight is cancelled, a miracle is expected. There is no miracle expected to arrive. Also because the alternative is to take one from another airport with transfer from an unbelievable cost. A new effusive mouth opens. A ride from Catania Airport to Palermo costs about 1,000 euros, says a taxi driver now exhausted from 3 days with a 14-hour shift. It may seem like a lot, but the journey lasts 3 hours on the way and 4 on the way back because of the work on the highway. And they come back with discharges, not like some colleagues from Palermo who arrive in Catania with passengers and charge others to bring them back to Falcon Borsellino Airport. They know they can't do that, but it's not like they can control them at all. 2 or 3 had caught them and sent them back without passengers, not to mention NCCs to make even higher prices. People are desperate. A colleague bought a couple from Rome. A Swiss lady with children wanted to take a trip to Milan. I replied, not even for 5,000 euros would I do this. And she disconsolate and said, I think my children will return to Sicily and I will not. As if that wasn't enough, the counter at Hertz, which is a rental car company, says all their vehicles are finished. Luckily, this are some customers of some airlines, such as Wizz Air and Vueling, who organize buses to transfer them to airports where departures were hijacked. The departures were changed to those other airports. It's been this morning that I chased passengers, says an intermediary of the Spanish company, visibly tired. I have to find 2,000 and get them on the vehicles. I have 3 left, and we leave in a few minutes. Less fortunate than Ryanair, passengers must reach their new departure destinations at their own expense and then hope for this unavailable refund. For others, unknown remains. We do not know what to do, says Antonio, who travels with his wife and 2 young children. We will probably try to take a bus to Catania Center and decide whether to stay a few more days or find another solution with a bus to Rome. Certainly there are no shortages of places to sleep. Since August 16th, they've only received cancellations, says the owner of a very popular resort. Ironically, just by the fans of the excursions on Etna. And the economic jacking for the tourism sector is quantified in 24 million euros just because a volcano erupted. The most disoriented are foreigners and incredulous to be prisoners of an island they loved Joseph, a Hungarian who looks like the oldest and most robust version of John Cena wrestler, vents his uncertainty in one of the rival bars. "We're waiting to figure out what to do. Our flight to Budapest was cancelled," he explained as he faces yet another Arancino with the same vigor that the American wrestler put in the ring. "There are 6 of us. It is not easy to move to another destination." Those who do not stand still are the son in their 20s, the same physique of his father, but he runs up and down the corridor instead of killing Sicilian delights. In all, there are those who do not break too much. Filippo, and Andrea enjoy burgers, chips, and beer. I'm sorry, Filippo. Thanks to a €17 voucher from the airline that they got. "Sorry your flight was cancelled, here's some food." In their speeches, there's no concern of how to return home. Rather, they list the conquest of the 2 separate occurrences collected in their Sicilian holiday. And they, despite these inconveniences, will certainly return. So there's a lot of... This is... all these people in Sicily panicking. "Oh, I can't get out of here because this thing exploded. It's fine. We'll just enjoy life. Have some fun. It's no panic. It's nature," I guess is the argument here from Filippo and Andrea. But there's just... I hope that was enough time for your limerick.
Okay, it's about the airport. Limerick! Okay. Is my mic on? I don't even know if I had it off. Okay, Limerick! The rental counter is not operating. The airport is hot and percolating. Not necessarily. As the planet burns and passengers squirm, the forest and fauna incinerating.
Aww. So sad. That's nature for you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we talked about Etna at the beginning of the summer. It just erupts a lot. So
yeah, no, limericks are supposed to be funny. Let's do a funny one. Oh my God!
I feel like people should have known. Hey, this volcano might erupt when on my holiday. You know, maybe have a plan B for when that happens.
Volcano.
All right, my next story is coming out of Germany, where there's been a forest fire. Yes, we've had forest fires in France, Spain, even in my village has been a fire, and now there's a forest fire in the North Rhine-Westphalian district of Düren, because the flames are dangerously close to a part of the municipality of Hurtgenwald. Hundreds of people had to get to safety. This is on Der Spiegel, and there's a picture of a bunch of smoke. So much smoke. Only a few hundred meters from the residential buildings, a forest fire rages in the Eiffel near Hurtgenwald. Because of the fire, a district of the municipality in the North Rhine-Westphalia has been evacuated. The district of Gay, with a G-E-Y, where more than 1,800 people live, is immediately evacuated. The municipality in Eiffel said early in the morning. The warning app Mina showed the highest warning level extreme danger, according to the municipality. Fires moving further and further towards the district. There are no incidents in the evacuation, a police spokesperson said early in the morning. Later, a spokeswoman from the Düren County said the evacuation was complete. All residents of the community had left their homes and apartments. Those affected should take only the most necessary private items, as well as identification documents and medication with them. It said, residents should, if necessary, cover their mouth and nose with cloth, clothing, or a mask. It said cloth. It probably meant like a face cloth. Yeah, that translation. During the night, the flames were initially about 500 meters from where they were. Then the wind turned. No, the wind! How could you do this? This is why wind is my least favorite element. And the fire moved forward towards their buildings. At just before 4 o'clock, the fire department decided it's time to evacuate. According to the municipality, the district of... what is this again? Grosha is also endangered by the flames. There's no evacuation request there so far. People are asked to avoid the area. The district of Düren has convened its crisis staff, according to a spokeswoman. He will now discuss the current situation and how to proceed. According to the community, the fire continues to spread. The flames were only less than 300 meters from the district, said Mayor Stefan Cranen, who is not represented by a party. The emergency forces are trying to prevent flames from reaching the place. The municipality speaks of a large-scale damage situation. In the meantime, around 300 hectares of forest area will be in flames, the district said. Since the fire broke out, around 300 forces have been deployed. The Buddhiswehr is on site with 2 tanks. 3 firefighting helicopters are there to support the deployment from the air, and a primary school and a sports shooting home serve as a point of contact for affected residents. Alright, and that's my story. I am wondering if there is an update on it since before now, but no, I would have to pay in order to see the exclusive Firewatch map. I have to pay Der Spiegel to open it up, so I'm not going to do that. But this was updated today at 11 a.m. So if there are any updates in the last 2 hours, I have no idea. Yeah, I think. Okay, here we go. I have one as of 30 minutes ago. They are currently in the crucial hours of fighting against the flame in Hurtenwald. They're slowly trying to clear more and more ammunition in the forest. Ammunition as in fuel for the fire, so that the fire will not encroach onto actual buildings. Because yet again, the only reason we even care about forest fires is because they destroy our houses. Even though these houses are mostly made out of brick, it's still going to cause a lot of internal damage, right? It's going to burn your walls off. So they're pushing those firefighters. They're pushing the helicopters, and water cannons are spraying the border, right? They're making it as wet as possible so that the fire will die down. I do wonder if they're creating I'm just quickly scanning the story, but it doesn't look like they are making any sort of counter fire. So if you see the wall of fire, the trees already have their height, and then it burns a few meters above the ground. If you've seen that, then you're already leaving and don't start discussing. Yeah, if you see a wall of fire, do not stay there. It's time to leave. That is fast. Fire moves pretty fast. And like I said, the wind turned against them. So
I worked out a limerick if you're finding it.
Yes, I'm ready for your limerick.
Okay. Hot Germany in the country near the Rhine. That region that produces the German wine. Dangerous to grapes. Fires burn at a rate. Whatever. I'm sure everything will be fine. There's my typical ignore the planet being on fire sarcasm.
Yep. At least those, good luck to those firefighters out there. That's all I can say.
You fool! Can I get a you fool? Anyway. You fool!
There you go.
All right, so next spin, and we'll do it about one story. Oh my god! It'll be easy for you. One story.
Well, depends what it is, I guess.
It's about General Dynamics taking money and producing nothing.
Sarcasm.
This ought to be easy for you, because this story is just dripping in malfeasance. So
just dripping, he says.
Yeah, we can't have free healthcare in this country, but we sure as hell can give money to defense contractors that they just keep, and produce nothing. I mean, they just keep it. They built a factory that produces nothing, right? They built a useless factory. ProPublica has a story from Jesse Colbert. It's a long, because ProPublica does not write short articles. So we're gonna trim it down. Fiasco at the factory. Taxpayers funded a $533 million artillery plant that made nothing. Report highlights. Ready, fire, aim. It says in a rush process exempted from normal rules. The Army hired General Dynamics, which brought on a Turkish subcontractor with little vetting to make artillery shells. We're going back to Turkey. Yeah, Turkey.
We're going back to zero vetting your workers and being surprised when it's bad.
Yeah, we can't hire anybody, so let's just get the lowest bidder, right? Money for nine. Despite being paid $533 million, General Dynamics, a contractor I have voluminous experience with, did not produce a single usable shell at its new factory and has not been held publicly accountable. That sounds like General Dynamics. Give us money. We'll find somebody to do it. That's General Dynamics. What they do. We win this contract to make shells. Now we're going to figure out how to make shells. That's exactly what they do. They win the contract and then they figure out what they're going to do. And they have no fucking idea. Since the Army halted 2 production lines in the factory, General Dynamics, unit responsible for the debacle, has received contracts totaling $2.5 billion. Oh, it's just money. We don't have money for medicine. We don't have money to forgive student loans, but we got money for this. Unfucking believable. Anyway, let's start the story. The first line of the story goes like this. A robot was on fire. Again. It was the summer of 2024, and the cutting-edge robots inside General Dynamics' sweltering artillery factory near Dallas were catching fire with starting regularity, according to 4 former workers there. This wasn't ideal, as the plant was supposed to be churning out urgently needed artillery shells for Ukraine. The robots, giant metal arms with clamps for hands, would end up drenched in oil, which would then, no surprise, combust as they moved steel blocks heated to 1800 degrees into and out of a machine that periodically erupted columns of fire. What is wrong with hiring humans? I have no idea. One blaze that summer melted a robot's cables, putting it out of commission for a week. Yeah, 1800 degrees is going to have some stress on your electronics, I would imagine. The only weeks early, defense officials and executives had touted the factory's innovative new machinery imported from Turkey. Let's stop importing shit from Turkey, shall we? At a gala opening ceremony, but employees were already used to spectacular mishaps, firing and otherwise. After the second, third, fourth time, it just became almost normal. One former worker said, I got to the point where I was not surprised by anything that happened here. Oh my God, don't we have any production capability in this country of anything useful? Instead of producing shells in an efficient and streamlined fashion, the pricey machines kept failing in bizarre ways. The robot arms would swing out of control, smashing into carefully calibrated equipment. Yeah, well, now that equipment don't work anymore. Shut down the factory. And sometimes they would unexpectedly drop hunks of steel 5 feet down to the floor. The factory's signature device.
That's fun and safe.
Big old chunks of probably molten steel for all I know. The factory's signature device meant that it precisely stretch the steel for artillery shells, instead often cracked it beyond repair. Then there were the giant press machines, which required regular pounding with sledgehammer to function properly, but still botched the shaping of nearly every shell. We really don't have any standardized practice, says Quantar White, a former employee. It was just a bunch of guys taking turns going at the machine with a sledgehammer every night. Just looking for the telltale signs that I'm in a simulation. I'm not quite sure all of this is real.
OSHA who?
Yeah, I'm like, I think we're in a simulation, folks. I used to work for the Department of Defense, and we had like standards and shit. Apparently, they don't exist anymore. Anyway, that's the sledgehammer calibration was not working that well. It's not surprisingly. Was not working that well. The situation never improved. The U.S. Army, which funded the factory, ordered work halted on 2 of its 3 production lines in August of 25. By then, General Dynamics had blown 8 deadlines. Work on a 3rd production line continued, but the facility never produced a single usable shell, according to the Department of Defense's Inspector General. July. So again, I'm going to re-emphasize this. The solution to every problem in the Department of Defense is to throw money at it, but it's never the solution for the rest of us. Isn't that interesting? I just think it's fucking fascinating. The fiasco has cost American taxpayers at least $533 million, according to the Army, but the Army has not held General Dynamics, or a key Turkish contractor, which provided the horseshit robots, publicly accountable. Never held them publicly accountable for the failures, and nor do we know the name of the Turkish subcontractor? Is that something we didn't give? Or anyway, we need to shame them. We need to shame them out of existence. Just the opposite. General Dynamic, one of the world's largest money wasters, defense companies, has been showered with new contracts. I wonder how long before they get the reflecting pool contract, and that's $500 million. Continuing its track record of one of the greatest beneficiaries of Pentagon spending, General Dynamics, one of your most cleverly disguised criminal organizations in the world.
Celebrate, I guess.
The company is still in charge of the factory, and calling it a factory is kind of a loose definition of that term because factories actually produce something. They recently announced that it will fix things there by bringing in another much type but little proven technology. It's an absolute disaster, said one of the former official in the Army office supervising the project. Absolute is a superlative. Absolute means absolute, and it means it can't be corrected. Right? So don't try to correct it. The Army should have gone after receiving money from General Dynamics, added the official. Yes. I'm sorry, the Army should have gone after recovering money from General Dynamics, added the official, who, like others, interviewed the story, spoke on a condition of anonymity because he'd probably get killed. Because, you know, don't disrupt these oligarchs as they're stealing money from the government. Yeah, don't stop them. Publicly, the Army has been tight-lipped about, of course they have, about what exactly went wrong at the factory, located at a sprawling suburb called Mesquite. The Inspector General report described the failure, but offered few specifics, didn't name the companies involved, unless the individuals responsible. The report's recommendations were tepid. The Army should determine whether the contract was appropriately issued and the money was spent and whether it can recoup any of it. We should also identify and implement a solution, producing more artillery. I don't know, go back to some old system that you used to have. We did make artillery shells before robots. That was a thing. We did that. So I don't know why the robots are necessary.
Start hiring all those women that helped in World War II. Oh wait, that would have to admit women can do stuff except for make babies. My bad.
Yeah, and artillery shells are not fitted with explosives right there in that factory, by the way, so they're not going to blow up. This is just a poorly run factory.
Yeah.
And a detailed statement of the propelled garments, blah blah blah. They said they're going to recover the money. Good luck with that. Again. Defense contractors are notoriously slipshod in answering to the government, and they just drag it out for years, and then they win 50 more contracts, so they're doing that. ProPublica, let's finish this up. ProPublica reconstructed how the project went awry through interviews with 36 current and former employees of General Dynamics, the Army, the Pentagon, and the White House. ProPublica also reviewed internal company documents as well as photographs and videos taken inside the factory. Like I said, this is kind of a half-hour read. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm looking for the Turkish contractor. Central to the proposal, unknown world American defense is Repcon. Repcon. Let's do it. General Dynamics could simply replicate the traditional manufacturing method, which dated back to the time of the Korean War, but in meetings with Pentagon officials in the fall of 22, Gezin, which is a idiot somewhere in the Department of Defense, proposed an alternative. What if the Army funded a state-of-the-art production line that used promising new technique? Bad idea, shit for brains. Bad idea, shit for brains. Central to this proposal was a virtual unknown in American defense, Repcon. That's the name of this Turkish company we should never, ever use ever again for anything. The company had been operating on its home country of Turkey for decades, providing turnkey production facilities at the metal forming industry. But Repcon had never received a Pentagon contract, and certainly not for its signature metalworking process called flow forming. Whereas probably their metal's probably not even up to standards for that matter. It's probably not even the right kind of metal. Whereas Scranton method mainly involves molding ultra-hot steel in a giant forging presses, Repcon added a step in which fast-spinning machine squeezes and rolls out the metal like clay in a potter's wheel. The advantage, Grazin told officials, that the same equipment could produce shells of various calibers. Most important, Repcon had a production line already available, meaning that General Dynamics would start making shells faster. Yeah. Warning signs abounded. Army officials learned that the production line that Repcon wanted to sell had been designed to produce an older, simpler model of 155 millimeter shells, which was made with quite different steel. It wasn't clear that Turkish equipment could even work with the steel used to make the newer models, as the equipment never actually produced it, according to formal German examinations. Total fuck up from the beginning. I got an idea. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. General Dynamics fucking up this country ever since they became a company, and I can say that because I worked for those assholes as a sub. And General Dynamics would go in and win a contract. Here's what they do. Here's what these assholes doing. That's what they did. They're assholes. Let's not. They're just assholes. They just middlemen. That's all they fucking are. General Dynamics works for Motorola, right? As a sub for Motorola. Then they hire me as a sub for General Dynamics. General Dynamics does absolutely nothing, but they get money for hiring a subcontractor when they're already a subcontractor. And the guy who does the contract gets to tell me what to do, even though I never met him before in my life, and he's an asshole. So that's my experience with General Dynamics being fucking, you're not my boss, shit for brains. I don't care who the fuck you work for. I say that all the time. Not in so many words, but yeah. Yeah, you're not my boss. I answer to my boss there. You're General Dynamics? Okay, I answer to my boss, General Dynamics. Just so you know, I don't work for you. Over and over again, keep saying that to these people in so many words. Anyway.
Wow, I'm glad I'm so happy we're selling out the country to just whoever wants to make some money. Let's open up a contracting business.
That's right. Yeah, let's not.
Before coffee is going into the contracting business, we're going to be contracted to make shit shovelers for the government.
Yeah.
And,
wait, you can get it.
We'll do it for really cheap. We'll make all the shit shovelers you need for all the bullshit that you're selling the American people straight into the mouth.
Yeah,
coffee guarantee. This is sarcasm. I'm being sarcastic. None of this is real. You don't have to take it seriously.
Yeah,
the disappointment is abound. Yeah.
But think of the jobs you're providing in the firefighting industry with all these random fires you're setting, huh?
I don't think that makes people want to do it more. I think I have no idea.
I'm so fed up with defense contractors getting away with this shit.
Firefighting or shit contractors, Nico? Which one are you knowledgeable on? Or making artillery shells? There's a joke we have that Nico's actually secretly a spy because he's like, I can't say what I do for a job. So they're like, oh, so you're a spy then? You can't tell us what you do. You must be a spy. You probably have a security clearance.
Enough for me. Enough for me. Enough for me. I don't mind telling you, I worked at a bomb factory, and it wasn't these guys. It was civilians working for the army. And
they also were
contractors
blowing up bombs all the time because they go bad. They expire, and you have to blow them up.
Don't worry. I'm sure General Dynamics was all over that place too. But yeah, the contractors. What's interesting about the place I work, the boss of the whole entire base was not a general or a freaking. It was a contractor. Yeah, the contractor ran the freaking thing. Isn't that crazy?
He wasn't answering. Yeah, he wasn't answering to the government or the American people or anybody. He was just some dude there getting paid. Yeah. Yeah,
the DOD civilians there that work for the army. Everybody do what the contractor says. Weird, huh? But it's a bomb factory.
So maybe he knows all about the bombs, huh?
Yeah. Here they were trying to just build artillery shells. Oh yeah. Be a whistleblower if you want, but good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with being a whistleblower. That's what he's saying. There's no point to whistleblower. It's probably, honestly, if you're a communist, that's probably the closest you get to a proletariat right there. Contractors saying, you have to do what I tell you because I'm the fucking worker. That's the closest you get in America to a proletariat. That's the contractors telling the government what to do.
It's actually fascism. It's a corporation telling the military what to do. That's fascism.
That's the government telling private citizens what
to do.
That's fascism.
A corporation running the government.
That's not what I said. No, it's not the corporation following government. I'm just saying that the government has to listen to a bunch of these contractors.
All right, I'm done,
The extortion
I guess.
is bad.
My story.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty long story. Let's go to our next segue
Way too long.
and talk about our culture news, which is not about any of this, but it is about
I've
something
got a haiku and a limerick today. Man.
I've been hating on. And now you can tell us a joke about Spotify. The story is coming off of The Guardian. From Dan Milmo, Spotify is to label AI artists and exclude them from the algorithm recommendation as part of a crackdown on fake performers. I'm thinking this is because they're losing stock. A lot of people have stopped following Spotify since their original AI problem. Their ICE ads, their complete and total disrespect for everything. The industry in general, they're just being paid out by the big wigs, another corrupt system. I've never cared about Spotify. I've never used Spotify, so that's where I sit on this panel. The world's largest music streaming platform is creating a label for AI-generated artists identities called AI personas that will appear on an artist profile and on track listings on playlists. It means that from September, AI-generated artists such as Velvet Sundown will carry the persona label and will be blocked from personalized recommendations by default. So if you're looking for some new rock music to listen to, you will not be getting Velvet Sundown on your recommendations because they're not real. The aim is to differentiate these deepfake artists from real performers who might lose out on streams and possibly concert revenue, right? If you don't even hear their music on Spotify or on any music platform, why would you go see them live? Unless you're one of those people who just goes to live shows randomly without knowing who they are, which I think is a rare person. I think most people know who you are and buys a ticket to your concert. Spotify said, true artist fan connection can only be built on a foundation of trust and authenticity. In music, that means listeners need to be able to trust that the artist behind the music is who they say they are. That's more essential than ever in the age of generative AI. Last year, Spotify revealed to have removed 75 million spam tracks from its platform over a 12-month period as AI tools created a flood of fake music. While the music is real, the artists are fake. Spotify legitimate catalog stands at 100 million tracks, so they removed 75 million of those 100 million tracks of fake music. That's a lot of fake music.
Oh my god.
Spotify will allow music creators to reveal if their identities are AI created and will then label them as an AI persona, but will not rely on self-disclosure alone. That's right, because self-disclosure doesn't work. Just like corporations are going to self-disclose that we just poisoned an entire town, an AI person is not going to reveal that they're AI. I have no idea about that, Nico, but I would say that if you want to upload a karaoke cover on the internet, I think you should probably use SoundCloud, because I see that a lot of people use SoundCloud for these more illegitimate, because I think you actually have to register as a business and have an official license as an artist in order to have a track on Spotify. Last I heard, if you want to actually sell your music on Spotify, you have to go through all of the red tape. So, I don't think you can just upload willy-nilly onto Spotify. These people are doing it, so maybe you can now.
Right on.
Although the company said it would use human review and AI investigation tools to determine if artists were fake. Although the new rule technically applies to AI identities, Spotify says AI-generated profiles are invariably a front of AI-made tracks as well. I mean, we already have this stuff for anti-bot stuff. Right, if you want to make an account, there's certain places, I can't think of it right now, but I've signed up for certain places, right, where you sign up. They're like, please provide social media, or like an Instagram account or a Twitter account or something that's 10 years old or something to prove you're real, right? You have to provide a history of your existence in order to prove that you're not AI, that kind of stuff. So,
How?
if you look up, I'm looking up at a new artist. Rebecca Smith. Is Rebecca Smith a real artist? And you say she literally didn't show up on the internet until, 2 months ago. She doesn't have a Facebook page, right? It's even that, right? Especially after social media's happened, we all have a history on the internet somewhere that we forgot about. You can find my personal Facebook page. I'm real. I've had that since 2014 or no. What am I saying? I've had my Facebook page since probably 2010 or something. So maybe even older than that. So I'm real, right? But these fake AI artists don't even have I'm gonna open up a thing. Where's their high school Facebook page? If you can't find it, they're probably not real.
At least just gonna limit the music probably sucks anyway. So
where's their private Instagram page? If they don't have a private Instagram page from when they're in high school, they're not real. Okay. Anyways, they use all these investigative tools to find out if art is fake. Although the new rule technique applies to AI identities, Spotify says AI generated profiles are invariably a front of AI made tracks as well. The company said listeners have been clear in telling us that they don't like seeing an artist profile that seems totally human, only to find out that persona is AI generated. Last year, there was a debate about origins of Velvet Sundown, a 70s-style U.S. rock band. Before the band's social media channels confirmed the subterfuge. A statement described the group as an AI creation that was somewhere between human and machine. Yeah, see, if Velvet Sundown was actually real, you would have been able to find first show at the local bar. 5 people showed up or something, right? People... Tour days.
Yeah.
We're in the social media age, okay? Everyone, if you want to become a popular artist or anything in the arts in general, you're gonna be on social media saying, "Please, somebody come to my show on Tuesday. It's our first show. We've been practicing." If you can't find that, they're not real. In my opinion, a statement described the group as an AI creation that was somewhere between human and machine. The Velvet Sundown has 117,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, but its page has no clear AI labeling, although the artist profile describes the 4-piece as synthetic music project. But who reads the freaking biography, right? Usually you're listening to Spotify and it's auto-playing music in the background or while you're doing something else. You're not sitting there going, let me pay my full attention to Spotify as I scroll through the artists on my playlist. You're not going to do that, so nobody's going to read, who's Velvet Sundown people, synthetic music project, whoa. In January, there was a further discussion about Sienna Rose, a soul singer who entered Spotify viral top 50, but did not appear to be real, having never played a gig, or released any videos, despite releasing a prolific burst of material over a 10-week period. Hey, here's 50 tracks! Do you have a music video for any of these? No? That's suspicious. I'm just saying, right? I'm not saying you have to follow the rules of release, right? Like a lot of Western artists, I think probably in general, even Korean and Japanese and Russian artists, I think most people do hit single with a music video, especially in this day and age, right? You have your first single, and a music video go with it to push yourself out. And if you're not even doing that, you must be AI. It's we couldn't afford to make a music video. You can literally sing in front of a camera, and that's a music video, right? You don't need to do anything crazy. And if you don't even do that much, you must not be real. The Spotify profile for Rose, who has more than 500,000 monthly listeners already, does not clearly identify whether she's AI or not. She's definitely AI. The fact that she has 0 gigs, released any videos, and she just suddenly released 20 million tracks, too suspicious. I think you're still muted from coughing, by the way, so if you're talking, I can't hear you. But that is my story. I hope you have a joke about fake people. Also, hello, 2D Doug. Thank you for your communist acorn.
What I did for my joke
I would release your music on SoundCloud, Nico. That's what I would do.
Anyway, I don't have any suggestions other than my joke. What I did for my joke was I had Gemini AI take a Beatles song and rewrite the title of a Beatles song, a literal translation. So I'm going to see if you can guess what these songs are. Okay, these are Beatles songs. I think you know all of these names, right? Okay. What would permit to exist? What would that song be?
Something about
This is
life?
an easy. Let it be. Let it be.
Oh.
An AI parlance is permit to exist.
And
okay.
robot speak.
You know how this works.
Robot speak is not very good.
So maybe that trips
Guess that one
something
was
in your
easy.
brain. Maybe that trips something in your brain because this one's even easier, actually. I demand to clench your appendage. How about
Let
that
me
one?
hold your hand. Isn't that their first single? I want to
I want to hold your hand. It wasn't their first single. It was their first #1 in America. It was definitely not their first single.
Okay.
First single was "Love Me Do," which is a terrible song.
Oh,
Anyway,
you love me.
anyway.
Yeah.
everybody hate. No, "Love Me Do," not I. "Love Me Do," which is a terrible song, by the way. Everybody hates it. I mean, even George Martin, who produced it, thinks it's a terrible song. You bring up "Love Me Do" to George Martin, he's like, yeah, whatever. Anyway, the next one. This one is called "A 24-Hour Period in the Existence." That shouldn't be too hard. A 24-hour period in the existence. I feel like I'm doing Jeopardy.
Yeah, when it's something about the sun. I don't know.
A day in the life. Anyway,
You're asking me to recall titles of songs, which is not something I'm not good at in general.
okay, it's all right. This is a joke. You don't have to get them. It doesn't. You're not required to get them. It's their jokes. Anywho, here's another one. Presently ejaculates the star. What is that one? Presently ejaculates the star.
What? Ejaculate?
Here comes the sun. Doo-doo-doo-doo. Here
Oh
comes
my
the
God.
that was the one.
Word for the sun coming up.
That is the one I was laughing at. Number 5.
Oh,
Number 5 is, you should be able to get this one. The Simpleton on the Slope. The Simpleton on the Slope.
I don't know that song.
Get ready to hit the "You Fool" thing. The Fool on the Hill. You fool. Anyway.
I don't know that one. I did not know that track.
Fool on the Hill. You're supposed to hit
I've heard
the
that
fool.
phrase
The
before.
fool. That's it. You fool. The fool. There you go.
I don't know that song at all. Yeah.
Okay, one more. Hither materializes the visible light. And of course, that is here, there, and everywhere. And apparently, you've forgotten all the Beatles
I don't
songs.
like any of those songs. So that's probably why I
You
don't
don't
know.
like "Here Comes the Sun"? Who doesn't like "Here Comes
I
the
like
Sun"?
that song. I like that song.
Right.
But the
A Day
ejaculation
in the Life.
completely pulled me off of that.
"A Day in the Life's" a great song. You can't deny that. Anyway.
I can't remember how the song goes. Remember, my favorite album was the White Album,
I
so those
read
are the only
the news
songs I
today,
remember.
oh boy, about a lucky man who made the grade,
the
and then
tracks.
the second part is
The
Paul
problem with
McCartney,
me is that I
Life,
listen to music, but I don't look up the
Abbey
title of the
Road.
song, so I don't know the title of the song. I only know how the song
Woke up,
goes.
Fell out of bed. I'm singing it so you know the song instead of you telling me.
I know that song, but I don't know the title. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I don't know the title of any of these songs.
Right, and again, I was singing it so you didn't have to know the title.
All right.
Yes.
That is also randomly singing. You're right. Random
Uh-huh.
singing. We got that.
Besides, talk about that. Spin the wheel.
All right. Let's go to this day in history. Did you send me a video? And I forgot to give it up.
Oh no, I loaded. I know I loaded it on my phone. Let me see if I sent it. I don't remember if I did or not. I usually automatically.
Yes, I do
send
have a
it.
video that you sent me at 1:17. Okay.
Okay, good.
Got
Let's
it.
do another
Okay.
thing.
Our segue
All right, I'm done working.
is metaphor, accurate metaphor, or simile.
Yeah,
For this day in
I
history.
know I let out a big sigh of relief because that was the actual last bit of work I had to do for the show this week. Is seeing the video, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're done. After this, you're done. And I'm done.
Yeah,
Well, actually, I'm not
the
done. I have
snake.
to edit this video later. But you know,
Right.
I enjoy that part the most. I enjoy the
You
whole
must
thing, but I
know.
enjoy the editing part the most.
I read the news today, oh boy, and then we did our before coffee show based on the news. It's a non sequitur. 1457 on this day, the first book was printed in Europe with a colophon bearing
What
the
the hell is
name
that?
of the
first
It's
printing
the name
press?
of the printer. No, it was the person taking credit for the printer. It was completed in Mainz, Germany. Colophon is probably some kind of logo that Britannica wants to confuse us with different words for everything. An inscription, a colophon is an inscription placed at the end of a book or manuscript giving details of the publication. In other words, you know when it was published, who published it. Great information for historians. So somebody was thinking about, future generations may want to know this, right? I wrote this book. This is a reference book, but this is all we knew in 1457. So don't hold this. We believed in witchcraft at this time. So just, you want to just use that for a cautionary tale instead of just going, these are facts, like the people do with the Bible. These are facts. Bullshit. They believe in witchcraft. Come on, man. I'm not saying witchcraft ain't real, but, show me an example. Just one, 1900. An international force seized Beijing to crush the Boxer Rebellion. Of course, all the Boxer, I don't know if it's
No, not the crusty boxers. Nobody likes that.
Yeah, Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, they all get the hell out of China.
Wash your ass and clean your underwear, you crusty boxers.
I'm talking about boxer shorts. I thought we were talking about the dog, the boxer. Okay?
Oh,
we're talking about that song. The song by Simon and Garfunkel, one of their best. Boxer.
Oh, that's funny.
You know that song? The title of that song is not referenced except in the last verse. But 1917, China declared war on Germany and Austria-Hungary. China? I don't remember them being in World War I. Do you remember that? China? Really? China declared war on Germany just to celebrate World War I. I don't remember them being on the front lines in Belgium, and maybe I'm just not World War II buff. I just don't know that much. But anyway, China just said, fuck it. Fuck Germany. Fuck Austria-Hungary, which isn't a thing anymore.
Japan was sided with the Axis power, and they did invade China. So I guess China was like, we have
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah, the Pacific Theater, I believe it's what it was called, which I'm sure you know all about.
Yeah, Japan was actively raping China at the time. 1935, U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed the Social Security Act, which the Republicans have been trying to kill ever since. Let's not fool ourselves. They don't give a shit about you unless you can work. Once you're working, they don't want to hear from you. You're not working anymore, they don't want to hear from you. They hope you die as soon as possible because, oh my God, you're draining resources. You didn't do anything for this world. By the way, Social Security is your goddamn money. You paid into it your entire working life. And these stinking Republicans are trying to steal it and give it to Wall Street. They've been trying to do this ever since. Anyway, on this day in 1935, which was 91 years ago, that pension system, which we never had one before then, and I'm sure everybody in the civilized world is going around, especially France, going, gee, we get a pension at 60. And we remember the French riots when they tried to raise the retirement age to 62 and everybody lost their shit. 1941, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill and U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt issued the Atlantic Charter Joint Declaration that stated, among other points, that they desired no territorial changes without the free assent of the peoples concerned. I guess that's a new thing that we practiced in the Western world since 1941. Sort of, kind of. Of course, the United States don't give a shit about that stuff at all. We just go to them big countries, hear them, scare them, steal their leaders, kidnap their leaders, whatever. Whatever. We think we're the law enforcement agency of the world. 1947, Pakistan became a sovereign state, bringing an end to British rule there. Good for Pakistan. Now get your shit together. Get your shit together. We still ain't got their shit together, but yeah.
British for drawing random lines on a map and not thinking about, hey, who lives here? Just, hey, a line's here now. You go over there and you go over there. Assholes.
And for some reason, I'm watching a limited series, one of these binge watches called The Delhi Boys, I think it's called. It's about how Pakistani and Americans and Indians and Americans don't like each other. And it's absolutely bullshit based on nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, 1859, American basketball player Magic Johnson was born in Lansing, Michigan. So Magic Johnson, turned out not to be Magic because he did get HIV. He led the Los Angeles. He was on the Lakers for 5 championships. I would say Kareem was on the team for those 5 championships. So don't tell me that Magic Johnson led the Lakers. I'm not saying he wasn't a great player, and I don't like Magic Johnson. I'm just saying he had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who could not be stopped. He had the unstoppable skyhook, and I think Kareem scored 25 points just by getting off the bus every night. So let's not pretend that.
That's a crazy thing to say.
No, I'm just saying. You would spend them. There's certain players who score 25 just getting off the bus. The LeBron's got 25. Put it in the books. Kevin Durant, 25. Put it in the books. Giannis, put it in the books. 25. Sometimes it's 40. Sometimes it's 35. But you got 25 to start the game. Michael Jordan, 25 to start the game. I think the over/under on any of these guys, if you look it up, is probably 25. Some of them is even 30 because they're just gunners. Anyway, 1959, American basketball player. Happy birthday to Magic Johnson. Anyway, great guy. Anyway, I'm not really putting down Magic Johnson. I have nothing against him. Anyway, Venezuelan militant Carlos the Jackal in 1994 was captured on this day in 1994, orchestrated some of the highest profile terrorist attacks in the 1970s. In the 80s, it was captured by the French and Sudan. Hey, French, why don't you get busy Sudan right now and capture some of these assholes? That should be your job right now. He was later sentenced to life in prison for his crime. Life in prison? Oh, way to go, French. You used to chop people's heads off. Now it's, oh, yeah, you're a terrorist. Life in prison. Fuck it. C'est la vie. Anyway, that was my French. That's all the French I know. 2004, Polish-born poet, essayist, and critic Czesław Milosz, who is considered one of the major poets of the 20th century, was born in and won the Anyway, he died at the age of 93. He wasn't born on this day, obviously. He would only be 22. Won the 1980 Nobel Prize for Literature. Anyway, he got to be 93, and according to this picture, he had eyebrows that had their own personality. So, holy Christ. You could plant crops in those eyebrows. 2016 Jamaican sprinter Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt, the fastest human whose records have been previously been beaten, I think. But anyway, he became the first athlete to win the 100 meters gold medal in 3 consecutive Olympics. And since the Britannica doesn't know what the hell they're doing, they decided that he later claimed an unprecedented 3rd straight gold medal in the 200 meters. So there you go. He did 2 things. He also won the 200 meters, 3 consecutive Olympics. And therefore, he did something that really is hard to do, winning both of them in 3 consecutive Olympics. Jesse Owens didn't do it. Carl Lewis didn't do it. None of your great sprinters did that. But Usain Bolt, as by the way, Jamaica was dominating in track and field, at least in 100 meters in those days. And in fact, all the sprinting, they were kind of dominant. The relays, everything. 1945 was the end of the war in the Pacific. The same day commemorating China saying they're at war with Austria, Hungary, and Germany. The actual World War II ended in 1945. That's right, August 14th. 1945, U.S. President Harry S. Truman. The S stands for something. What is his middle name? Sarah. Okay. Announced that Japan has surrendered the following day. A radio address by Emperor Hirohito was broadcast throughout the country. He declared acceptance of the Allies' terms, which was total surrender, by the way. And never used the word surrender. Yeah. Because again, we got to be honorable as we're, again, Japan brought on their own destruction. I just don't understand why people do this, but whatever the fuck. This came days after atomic bombs had been dropped out August 6th in Hiroshima and Nagasaki on the 9th. The official surrender ceremony was held on September 2nd, thereby ending the largest and bloodiest war in history. Hold our beer. We'll figure out another way to get a bloody war going in this world, won't we? Cologne cathedral was completed on this day way back in 1248. Yes, we still had calendars back in 1248. Even though we were still burning witches, the cathedral in Cologne, Germany, the largest Gothic church in Northern Europe and the city's major landmark, was finally completed on this day in 1880. I want to go to Cologne, Germany. Right? I need to go to Cologne, Germany to complete all of the. I've had a Frankfurter in Frankfurt.
We need to go
I've
to
had a
Munich
hamburger.
too.
Munich doesn't have food named after it. I had a Frankfurter in Frankfurt. I had a Frankfurter in Frankfurt. I had a hamburger in Hamburg. I need to go to Cologne and put on some cologne. That's my stupid little pun I was working on here. Sorry about that. Dad joke alert. Where's your bingo card? Halle Berry's birthday. She was born this day in 1966. One of your famous turning 60, Halle Berry. She don't look a day over 59, but there you go. In 2002, became the first African American to win the Best Actress Award. I think it was for Monsters Ball. Yeah, Monsters Ball. That was a troubling movie. Her nuanced portrayal of Letitia Musgrove, who was, oh my God, that was a really good acting job, but you really hate this woman in this movie. I mean, if you ever seen Monsters Ball, she's pretty terrible to her overweight son, right? Let's put it that way. Yeah, and she ends up, again, it's a couple of troubled people hook up. Billy Bob Thornton is another troubled guy, hooks up with other troubled people. Like, Monsters Ball, nobody's a good guy. Let's put it that way. I just saying, there ain't a lot of good guys. Anyway, happy birthday to Halle Berry. What else have we got going in there? I think I covered everything on this day in history. Oh no, there's a picture. No, that's from the end of World War II. Let's do today's famous birthdays. College Football Hall of Famer Tim Tebow turning 39. He somehow had a professional career, and even though he had a terrible throwing motion, he was left-handed. Actually won a playoff game as a starter. It's amazing. Had a lot of fans, a lot of Christian fans. Oh, you hate him because he's a Christian. It's like, we don't hate him at all. He's just not that great of a quarterback. Actress Mila Kunis from the 70s show, and of course, what is it? What's the one? The Family Guy. What else is Mila Kunis in? She's in a few movies. Turning 43. She seems like she's such a youngster.
She was
musician.
She had a role in the Black Swan or the.
Oh yeah, the Black Swan. Yeah, she's been in a lot of movies.
The Black Swan.
She actually married co-star Ashton Kutcher for the 70s show.
Yeah, they're the prolific celebrity couple that keeps getting themselves into trouble.
Aston Kutcher has himself he has himself a whatchamacallit problem. The Puff Daddy, Sean Puffy Combs problem. Whatever he's calling himself these days. He has one of those deals. He used to go to those parties, so he has a problem there. But again, let's think of their children at least, and not just try to put them in prison for whatever. By the way, Ashton Kutcher one at a time was being cougarized by our poster girl, Demi Moore. Let's see. Halle Berry, we got her birthday. Susan Olsen, actress Susan Olsen, turning 65. We got a picture of her there. Basketball Hall of Fame member, Magic Johnson, we already covered that. Musician James Horner, born in 1953, not the brother of Jack Horner, I hope. Cartoonist Gary Larson, The Far Side, my favorite cartoon, is turning 76. He's still around. Writer Danielle Steele, probably still churning out them romance novels, turning 79. Musician Larry Graham, who was a bass player for Sly and the Family Stone, but he's been in a lot of people's records. He's turning 80. Actor Susan St. James. Susan St. James turning 80. She was born in 1946. Steve Martin turning 81. Wild and crazy guy. Musician David Crosby, who almost cut his hair, but he instead died a few years ago. He was born in 1941. It would be 85. Let's not forget that David Crosby is the father of musician Melissa Etheridge's children. Right? He's the sperm donor for their 2 children she has with her wife. Musician Dash Crofts also was born in from Seals and Crofts, if you know them, soft rock icons. He was born in 1940, so turned in 86. He apparently is dead also. Baseball Hall of Famer Earl Weaver, manager of the Baltimore Orioles, born in 1930. Writer Russell Baker, turned 101. American West legend Doc Holliday, born in 1951. So he would be 175 today. But Doc Holliday, again, he was a lunger. Right? He had the, what's that called? Tuberculosis. And famously, Albie or Huckleberry from the movie. Pope Pius the 12th in 1742. So happy birthday to that guy. I don't know how pious he was because that was a long damn time ago. Those are your birthdays. It's only a couple things for a national day, so we'll finish this up. It's National Creamsicle Day. It's National Navajo Code Talkers Day. The people that won the war that got a lot of credit, but we didn't learn about them until years later because, you know, America, we like to keep things secret for a long time. They had to be classified for years and years and years. Don't forget that. It had to be classified. So we didn't know about it until it was declassified, unfortunately. National Creamsicle Day. And that's it. It is time to pull this train into the station for the week. Again, no warnings. We're doing maintenance this week. You can leave all your stuff on here. We've learned an idea for our new Lost and Found is we get to keep things for 30 days and then sell them. So leave all the stuff you want on a train and we're going to make some money. Leave your valuables, take your watch off, take your phones off, leave your laptops, your laptop carrying cases, everything. Leave it all on the train. We don't care. We love selling stuff that people don't claim. So that's it for this week on limericks, haikus, and so forth. All the mispronunciations, technical glitches for Friday, August 14th, on before creamsicles. You know what a creamsicle is? It's orange on the outside and white on the inside.
There's also different flavors of creamsicles, but orange does seem to be the most popular one. Nice orange one.
That's the one that really got popular.
Going back to our Beatles tangent. A creamsicle is a sunset stabbed onto a stick. There you go.
Little darling, it's been long so lonely. Little darling.
You gotta get a nice orange sunset. That sounds like, actually, isn't that a drink? It might actually be a drink.
Just using all the sound effects because we want to
turn them
make
in
sure
now.
Was that it?
Yeah, I mean, and do you want me to give you 10 more metaphors? It's just a metaphor.
No, I just wanted to close the soundboard. That's all. All right.
Oh, okay. Our next thing is international UN observances, which there are none today or over the weekend. So no, don't worry. Just continue breastfeeding awareness. I guess. I don't know. It's been a week since that, so let's just continue doing that.
Be cognizant.
I would say if they're not going to have a week for every week, they should just continue the previous week, you know? Instead of World Breastfeeding Week, just make it World Breastfeeding Bi-Week or something instead. They're not going to have... Why is only 1 week in August celebrating something? Anyways, that has been us. Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the US, as we're done with another Friday news dump. We've made it through. Congratulations. Happy Friday, everyone. I know we still have to finish Friday, but once we do, we're free to the weekend to do whatever. If you at least if you have a normal schedule, do whatever you want. I know there's some people who work on the weekend, but I think for the majority of us, our weekends are free. Don't forget to subscribe to the For Coffee Podcast on YouTube and follow on the For Coffee Podcast on Twitch. Let that number go up and make us spread our anti-AI news into the void that is the internet. Thank you, everyone on Patreon who's already supporting under the For Coffee supporter tier. And we'll see you on Mucking Fun Day for all the news you might have missed over the weekend. You should have missed because you shouldn't be doom scrolling. And here is our mic drop moment. Which, there we go.
never look at the audience. Look over their heads.
From
Look
Steve
somewhere else.
Martin.
Look into the darkness. Maybe
what was it again?
occasionally,
Steve
'cause
Martin?
what you're going to see
The Steve
is
Martin.
people not laughing.
He's
I remember
81
being in
today.
an arena. I
81st
was talking about this
birthday.
with Jerry Seinfeld the other day, playing for 18,000 people. And I'd hear the biggest laugh I've ever heard, and I'd look out in the audience and be 1 out of 20 laughing.
Yeah, some people find,
Because people,
it's happy to make one
there's
person
people
happy.
being thoughtful too. They're watching it. I've been to plays where I was aware I wasn't laughing, but I
Like
thought
it's
it
a
was
comedy.
really funny. And I
Yeah,
loved it
I do
afterwards.
that all the time.
And we talk
I
about
don't
it all
always laugh
all the
outside.
time in theater. It's like you think the audience is dead, and then at the end they leap to their feet with the biggest roar that you've had that week. I had a really
Yeah, let
fine
people
agent in the
observe
70s, and I'd come off and I'd say,
and appreciate.
"It was fantastic tonight. It was fantastic." And he would say, "It's okay." I go, "Really?" And then another night, I'd do what I thought was an average show, and he'd come up and say, "That was one of the most special shows." So you don't know what people are thinking, what's going on.
You never
out there.
know.
You might be killing them, and this,
I assume everyone's having a good time, and if they're not, they're going to tell me. That's what I
ostensibly,
do.
you hear them not laughing.
The more
so you think
positive
they
point
lost
of
it.
view as an
And so
entertainer.
here's my impression
Gist of it is, don't
what it
look
was
at
like.
the audience.
to play the dinner
For us,
show
we can't see our audience.
in Las Vegas. I would be opening, say, for
George
10
Carlin had a saying for
Ladies
the
and
audience. He
gentlemen,
said, "You're here for me, and I'm here for
comedy
me.
stylings
Nobody's
of-
here for you."
That's so true.
Yeah.
They're always half interested, so you can't maintain.
That's why we have the
flow.
jingle the
They're
keys
just,
joke here on
on
YouTube and Twitch.
distraction, and then
Look at the
what?
keys. Hey, look at the keys. I'm saying something
It's not
important.
their fault. I feel sorry
yeah.
for some younger comedians who
I don't have any
get
keys to
bomb,
jingle, sadly.
for years and years and years. In Amy Schumer's autobiography, she talks about bombing. But she had and I did too, the camaraderie of other people.
Man, I
doing the
just
same
bombed out there. It's like, yeah, you
And
sure
you
did.
can sort of,
Anyways, let's go for a drink.
Socialize your anxieties away
I was
because everybody's having a communal
I was
experience.
listening to Rosie O'Donnell interview the other
best
day.
thing
She
to
said
do
her first stand
Not
up,
rely on your
she had all of
material.
her classmates there. She was still in
Rely
high school.
on your personality.
And so
Your
they cheered and
personality is
laughed at
always
every
working.
joke.
Personality
right?
doesn't
And
require laughs.
The next night, their classmates weren't there.
Your
Bombed completely,
say,
right?
position
So she saw
of your comedy,
everything, and
the
right,
place it
the
starts
high
from
and the low, right?
doesn't rely
Yeah.
on laughs.
And that's
going
what you
to
got to do.
sucks,
be-
You got to bomb.
Yeah.
You got to
Even if
bomb,
nobody's
man.
laughing.
If you're a comic,
And that's
you got to bomb,
ideally
man.
what
You
you're
got to
shooting
know,
for,
man.
Is that you can survive, no laughs, and still somebody's going to say, that guy's funny.
This is
Or
why
she was
comedians
funny.
steal jokes,
The
by the
value
way,
in
because
bombing,
they
of
bomb.
course, is
Yeah.
They get tired of bomb.
knowing how your material works on the worst of nights. I wouldn't, unless you're quitting the business,
you
say,
have
well,
to-
I'm bombing really
you have
badly
to fail.
tonight, everybody.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.
Just playing a video without going to YouTube. It doesn't give
Yeah.
you